is something I struggle with a lot, and I'm sure everyone struggles with it if you're human. I'm going to be doing the topic of laziness, and I know it's been preached here before, but it's something that I struggle with a lot. And I mean a lot. Every day, there's stuff I could be doing that I could be reading my Bible, but I'd rather just play my video games, rather just watch TV. Yeah, something I struggle with a lot. So let me just get my stuff together real quick. But before I get to that, have y'all ever been so lazy to the point where like someone tells you, hey, check who's at the door, check who's outside, and y'all are just like, man, I don't want to open the window. I'm going to just try to stand up, peek through the window. Well, I had one of those moments at work. It was me, Joel, and Dad. We were at work, and our boss said, I'll meet y'all at the job. I said, all right. So we started unloading this pallet of floor in the basement, and we were under a garage door, and they said, hey, I think Jerry's coming up. That's our boss named Jerry. He said, I think he's pulling in. So I'm like, I don't see. They're like, go check. And instead of me, walking 3 steps up a hill to look to see if he's there, I just go one of these numbers. Bam! And smack my head on top of the garage door. And Joel and Dad are over there just dying laughing. I'm over there in pain. Dented the garage door up top, hoping the homeowner don't see it. It was one of them days. Yeah. So I have a ton of those stories, but nothing compares to that. All right. So I have it wrote down here on my phone. I'm like, well, I might as well use my phone for something productive since I'm always on it. But I took a couple notes, and then I wrote some Bible verses down about what stood out to me about laziness. And just once I get to thinking, I just jot a bunch of stuff down. And that's just how my brain works. I jot a bunch of stuff down and kind of just brainstorm it. And I'm like, you know what, let me freshen it up. And by freshen up, I just mean I just brainstorm it, leave it on there, and I just read it. And I just say it how it is. I think of it on the fly. I'm better under pressure. But starting off, I was like, what is laziness? Well, it's pretty simple. Being laziness is just being lazy, just not wanting to do stuff. But I try to seem more smart and say, what does it mean? What it means to me is to procrastinate, push things off till later, to make excuses, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it, I'll do it in 5 minutes. And then you never end up doing it. Or just simply not to want to take initiative to stuff. Or just, as preacher said last Sunday, just to complain. Just to complain, really, And then, why does one want to be lazy? Well, I'm sure there's a bunch of reasons. They just don't want to do stuff. But I kind of wrote it down into 2 little sections. One, which being just not wanting to do something because it takes too much time or too much effort in the moment. So we're over there just watching TV. Someone says, hey, can you take out the trash, please? Yeah, I will in just a couple minutes. Let me finish this up. And then that turns into a new episode or a new movie or new show. And you're like, next day comes, you're like, man, I forgot to throw the trash away. It's starting to stink. I forgot to throw it away. I forgot to change the laundry over. Mom's about to whoop me. 2, which being just getting comfortable doing what's easy for us. We should be, reading our Bibles. Like me, I struggle with reading my Bible for a certain amount of time a day, but I try to just read my Bible to where something sticks out to me and I have to think about it and read it over. I'm like, okay, I'm getting to the point where, I should probably, study that. But lately it's just been like, man, I'm going to read it for 10 minutes. And then every so often I'm like, I'll just read it for 8 minutes, And then it's just every week, every month it starts to slow. It's like, I'll just read a couple verses, I've heard reading a couple verses is good a day just to simply just not reading it at all. And then that's just me being lazy, I'm sure we all struggle with that, just breaking that routine. And I realized something to help break the habit of laziness is to get comfortable doing the uncomfortable. What does that mean is, well, what's something that's uncomfortable for you? Maybe. Well, for me, I have a problem with public speaking. So, I'm up here now. I've been having to do it for a couple years now, and at school and presentations and stuff. So, just doing it over and over is something that helps, but just other things, just doing stuff that gets you uncomfortable, breaks out of that habit of being uncomfortable. And I wrote down what do these reasons lead to? Well, they lead us to getting into a lazy routine, like as I said, just pushing it off. Oh, I'll do it, it gets us into doing, why didn't I do that the day before? It was sitting there. I could have just taken 5 minutes out of my time to read my Bible. could have taken 5 minutes out of my time to throw the trash away. It don't even take 5 minutes, but I could have taken the time to go do that. All right. And, yeah, so I'm about to go into a couple verses, but before that, I might as well just tell y'all this other story I wrote down that I brainstormed, so I might as well tell it before I forget it. So, I was at work. Like usual, I'm at work and I do dumb stuff, like I said before. And we were unloading the van. Like after every job, we go unload the van, throw it in the dumpster, and then we load up the next day's job. When we get there, we take turns, Dad will go, Joel will go, I'll go, and then we'll just keep going like in a circle, make a little rotation in a routine. And then it got to the last bag of trash, and it was me that do it. And Dad's like, hurry up, we gotta go, it's Friday, we gotta go. All right, so I grab it, instead of taking, I go over here, I grab it, and I just, next thing you know, I'm looking at where it lands, it's over here torn on the ground. I'm over there, and Dad's over there just, and he told me, "Lo flojo trabaja dos veces." And I'm like, what? He's like, my grandma told me one time, the lazy person works twice. So that stuck with me. So I realized maybe I shouldn't cut corners anymore, especially around my dad, because it would just chew me up. All right, so I got a couple verses here. I got 2 Thessalonians 3:10 through 11. It says, "For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. For we hear that there are some that which walk among you disorderly, not working at all, but are busybodies." We can apply the verse 10 to our lives just simply by work, physical work. Most of us have jobs here. If we don't work, we don't get paid. We don't get paid, we can't pay our bills, we can't buy groceries. We can't take our wives, our girlfriends, our kids out to eat, ice cream runs, we can't do none of that if you don't work. But another way, I've heard this plenty of times, I'm sure y'all have, if y'all only eat Wednesday and Sunday, you're starving the rest of the week. What about Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday? It goes the same with reading our Bible. If we only read it Wednesday and Thursday, or only hear the word Wednesday and Sunday at church, we're basically starving the rest of the week, and we're wondering, man, why are we not feeling that presence of God with us? Well, I'll tell you why. You're not putting in the work. You're not putting in those 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the day just to read your Bible. All right, and then when you say something like that to someone, you got to do your work in order for God to provide for you. God will provide. He will always provide, but you got to do your part. You can't just sit around at home, laying in the bed, expecting Him to feed you. You got to, if you have stuff in the freezer, in the fridge, you got to get up, do your part. So I was, just for that saying, I put it in quotations, well, God always provides, which He does, but He gives us the opportunity to provide. So He gives us the opportunity to showcase our talents and our skills at work so we can, make money, pay our bills, put food on the table for our families. If we can't do what He's given us, why do we expect Him to just hand things to us if we're not putting in the work to do stuff? All right, and another verse I have here is Proverbs 13:4. It says, "The soul of the sluggard desireth and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat." When I first heard this, I'm like, the sluggard. That sounds kind of like a bad word. But when I just kept reading it, it basically means a lazy person, someone who likes to, sleep a lot, someone that just pushes things off, just basically a lazy person. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that has me thinking. And then it says, "The soul of the diligent shall be made fat." I'm like, why would someone want to be made fat, But then I'm like, well, hold on, let me read that again. It says, "The soul of the diligent." I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. Basically meaning, if you're just being lazy and you just desire to be good at your job, or as Brother Will, he's a fisherman. If he desires to be, one day he desired to be real good at fishing, but he just, I'm not saying that he ain't. No, I'm just saying before he had his career, if he was saying, man, I want to be, I want to do this, but he just didn't do nothing to work towards that, why would he be granted something like that? You got to put in your part to do something like that. You can't be lazy and not want to, work towards that goal. If it's something you desire, you got to work towards that goal. That's basically what that is saying here. We could all apply that to our daily lives. It don't have to be this big goal. It could be literally something like, man, I want to start reading my Bible 10 minutes a day. Well, if you just put your phone down 10 minutes a day, or if you'd put the TV off for 10 minutes a day, you could actually probably accomplish that, you know? All right. And then I have Colossians 3:23, which is one of my favorite verses. And it wasn't one of my favorite verses until about junior year of college, when my strength and conditioning coach at school, he would write it down on his board every day. He'd have it written there, and he'd always like make it in big, bold letters to where we could see it. I mean, you couldn't miss it. If you missed it, it's like you wanted to miss it. It's like you didn't want to look at the board. And you had to look at the board to get your workout in for the day. So it's like you were going to see it. So he was doing his part, you know. But it says, and whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. Basically saying, if it's something we have in life, maybe it's just, you know, man, I got to do all this stuff. I got to go do all these chores. I got to do this. Well, if it's even something as simple as doing your chores, if you're over there doing it, you know, cussing up a storm, or you're over there doing just dragging your feet all day, or just kicking dust, taking out the trash, or washing the dishes, you're over there griping and complaining. What if your little brother hears that, your little sister, your son, your daughter, your mother, they hear you complaining? How are you supposed to get them any closer to God doing something as simply just griping, or as preacher said last week, complaining? Let's see. And then just something I took away just very, after I was brainstorming stuff, I'm like, man, I can't just brainstorm stuff. I got to think of something really good to say, something that will stick with people. You know, people have quotes and they'd be like dash, and then they'll say their signature. Well, I couldn't do that, so I just wrote it down here. It says, if we realize that what we do, that if we had the time that's spent being lazy is time we wasted, we could have used that time and used that to spend with God. So, I mean, not everyone can just pray for 30 minutes. I've tried it, and I think I got a max of like a minute and a half. It's really hard to do that. The people that can do that, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. But just to put that into perspective, though, is if you watch TV for an hour, let's say from 8 to 9 o'clock every day, because your favorite show's on, it ain't gonna kill you to just skip it a day and just read your Bible in that time to make sure you get it in. You might be, man, this is hard because I really want to watch that show. But if you at least just do that day after day after day, it becomes into a routine that is no longer uncomfortable. It is something that is comfortable to you. And that's basically just what I came up with, just being comfortable with what's uncomfortable, and just laziness. It's something I really struggle with, and I'm trying to be better. And I was like, man, what should I make my lesson about? Pastor Rick messaged me. I really didn't want to reply. I didn't. He said, can y'all give a lesson on Wednesday? I'm like, man, I hope Joel sees it first and replies first. But I'm like, man, I'm being lazy right now. I can literally just message him back and say, yes, I'll do it. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, man, what do I do it on? And as soon as the topic laziness came into my head, I'm like, man, that's stuck. That's something I really, truly struggle with. And it's something like maybe it could stick to y'all because maybe y'all struggle with it, So I was like, well, let's just do it on laziness. And then, of course, I waited till Tuesday to start doing stuff, writing it down. Just because Monday we got off of work pretty late. We got home at 10:30, and I was like, well, maybe that's a good excuse. But nah, I should have started it, but I started on Tuesday. So yep, that's all I got.
Preacher, how am I supposed to follow up with that after that? Yeah, I don't really have nothing. I'm gonna go ahead and bless the food, and First of all, I'd like to thank Pastor Rick for giving the opportunity to come up here and share something with y'all. And like G said, whenever he messaged us, I was just like, I might be working late that day. I don't know. I might be working late, but. I was really struggling as to what I would share with y'all. I didn't know. I was just going back and forth. I wrote some stuff down. I thought of some stuff, and I just completely just pretty much tore the page and said, that ain't gonna work. I need to do something that, that's something that that's real, something that I've experienced. So I asked Pastor Rick, I like your sermon that you did about complaining. So could I? Is it all right if I do a little bit of extension or look and continuation of it? He said, yeah, that's fine. And I said, okay. So for those that you do know me, I mean, I'm a deer hunter, I'm a duck hunter, and I like to fish. And let me tell you something. If you're looking for a hobby to get your stress, get rid of some stress, be happy, get your mind off of things, don't do either one of those. There's three things that will happen. You end up broke, you end up sad, and you'll end up disappointed. And hungry. Hungry. No, but all right. So this story took place probably about a year and a half ago to 2 years ago. I was hunting this public land, and up in West Jefferson. It was 3 of us, and my buddy, he owns this cabin that sits on the border of this public land. So he said, we'll stay up there. We'll go hunt in 2 days and come back. The first day I go up there and sit in my stand, and as I'm making my way up to my stand and I sit down, literally I hear a gunshot go off. Like as I'm walking up to my stand and I sit down, I hear a gunshot go off. I said, that probably is my buddy. And I'm sitting there, and as I'm sitting there, I see my phone ring. I'm like, I look, my buddy done shot an 8-point buck. And he said, well, dude, I was walking up there. I literally walked up to where I was hunting, sat down. He was walking to me. I said, dude, you shot the neighbor's pet. That's what you did. You shot the neighbor's pet. That's exactly what you did. And then I'm sitting there in my stand. I'm just like, Lord, I mean, he shot one. Surely you're going to bless me with something. Like, I mean, and then I hear another gunshot go off, and my other buddy shot one. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, I'm starting to get a little jealous. I'm starting to get a little envious. I'm just going to be like, I'm not seeing no buck. I'm like, do deer even exist out here? I'm looking around like, I'm not seeing no buck. And I'm sitting there and just like, Lord, you're blessing these people. They're not living right. No, like, you're blessing people. They're not living right, Lord. Like, they're probably not even living right. I'm thinking in my head, and you're giving them a blessing. I'm sitting here. I've been trying to do right. And Lord, why has nothing happened for me? So there you go. I'm starting to get a little envious. So that night, that day, I pretty much hung it up, went back to the house, and I knew, I said, well, we're hunting during the rut. So that means big bucks are going to be coming around. They're chasing does. And I said, so the night before, that night I went home and I said, you know what? I'm going to prepare. I'm going to get to the house. I'm going to lay all my gear out. Pastor Rick, all my gear was on my bed. I had all my gear on my bed. I slept beside my gun. That's how ready I was. I slept beside my gun. So anyways, I had everything ready. I had everything ready to go. I even went to sleep early. I set an alarm. So come morning, alarm doesn't even go off yet. An hour before. I'm already up. I'm already getting ready. And my dad, he said before I have to wake you up to get to work, you go hunting, you're up an hour before, you're already in the truck. And he said, man, I wish you'd be like that all the time. But I said, yeah, so I was getting a little overconfident. So I was like, you know what, it's happening today. I'm coming home with something today. Like it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. So I have this, I want to say about a 600-yard walk, and it's up a mountain. So it's 600 yards going up a mountain, and the place where I was hunting got hit really hard by the hurricane. So it was a bunch of knocked over trees. So, and I don't know if you ever tried being quiet in the snow. There ain't no being quiet in the snow. It's just going through the woods. And as I'm doing that, I'm just like, man, a deer's got to be deaf if I'm going to kill it. It's just, man, everything's already going on. But, so I end up making this hike to my stand. I get up to the top, and I'm just like, I sit down, I'm like, yeah, magic's about to happen, baby. So I sit down and I go to load one in my rifle. I didn't hear nothing, no bullet go in my rifle. And I said, did my gun jam? I said, I feel, Brother Tom, there's no mag in my gun. For those who know, there's no bullets. Bullets are in the bed. I seen them in that morning. Bullets are still in the bed. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there and thinking to myself, I'm like, Lord, why now? I prepared. By the time I prepared, I made sure, I double checked. Brother Will, like, why me? You know? No, like, guys, this is bigger than deer hunting now. Guys, like, I'm at there complaining, like, Lord, I'm frustrated and stuff. I'm just, God, why is stuff happening to me? Like, I'm living right. God, I'm reading my Bible. God, I'm praying. God, I'm trying to do right. Why is stuff happening to me? Like, why me out of all people? Like, God, help me. I'm drowning. I'm sinking. God, help. And I'm just complaining there. And at the same time, I'm just like, just taking a little breather. I'm just like, all right, I'm going to walk back. I'll make a decision. It's an executive decision. I'm walking back. I walk back, and I go get my mag. And this time, I get to and I load. As I'm walking out the door, I'm loading my gun. I look, make sure a bullet goes in my rifle. This time, I'm sure I'm loaded. I'm going back up the hill, and this time, I'm not being quiet. I'm having a sorry attitude. Pastor Rick, I'm saying some stuff I shouldn't say. You asked what word you say? Ask Norma. She'll tell you. And anyways, so I'm walking up this hill, and I'm dreading it. I'm complaining. I'm just like this hunt's ruined. All that preparation for what? All this doing right, all this trying to do good for what? Like, Lord, am I wasting my time here? Like, what am I doing here, you know? I get up to the top of that hill, and then I get to my stand, and I finally get to the top, and I'm exhausted. I finally sit down. As soon as I sit down, I go, and I hear something. I see something up in the hill, and I look, and not big. It's an 8-point buck. It's an 8-point buck. But anyways, I see him, and I'm just like, Lord, it's me. Can you please let me shoot this deer? And just like it's gonna happen now, or it's not gonna happen. So I end up raising my rifle. I put the crosshairs on him. He took a couple steps, and I dropped him right there where he was. And I was like, yes, Lord, I knew you'd provide. I knew it, Lord. I just knew it. I just knew it. I'm like, woo! So I start walking up to this thing. I get down and I start walking up to him, just like, go walk up on this thing right fast, buddy. So I go up to grab him. I'm like, all right. Turn around. I'm just like, pretty high up here, man. Whatever. I grab him and I go to turn. As I go to turn, this deer, he's going downhill, so he ends up cornering me. He's dead, but he ends up cornering me and everything. And then there I go, man, it's always something. It's always got to be something. So now I'm just like, Lord, you blessed me with this deer. Undeserved, I'm going to be honest. Undeserved. But God, now I have this hike back, and I have to throw him over top of trees, under trees, like it's work. Then after I get him back, I still have to work on him. I still have to cut him up. And then I got to thinking, I said, Joel, how many times has God gave you something that was undeserved? God gave you a little blessing that's undeserved, and then you still have the nerve to complain about it? Many of us do the same thing. We're too busy complaining of things that God hasn't done or what God could have done for us or what God should do for us. God doesn't owe us anything. We're too busy complaining, and we're not thanking Him for what He has done for us. In the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 22, you ain't got to turn there. It says, "It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because His compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness." I'm not up here like to offend anybody or nothing, but I know for me, like as a fact, whenever you go through something and it's so inconvenient for you, the first person you blame is God. That's the first person you want to take your frustration out on. I'm the first person that'll admit it. That's like I shouldn't be doing that. That's my flaw. But God's been there for me. He hasn't left me. He's provided for me even when I haven't deserved it. And that was pretty much what I had. But nah, it's something that's real and something that's happened to me, and I feel like some people could relate to it.
Amen, guys. That was really, really good, really good. It sounds like Dad's got some wisdom. Maybe we need to get him up here too. I mean, but I appreciate you guys doing that. Did very, very well. I know it's not y'all don't want to hear that, but you did very well. And that being a lazy thing, just because you work hard at something you like doing, don't mean you're not lazy. You know what I mean? Being lazy, you can go out there and work as hard as you want to. If you like doing it and you love doing it, you can still be a lazy person. And then, yeah, that complaining thing, just taking stuff for granted. Don't matter what the Lord, no matter how good the Lord is to us, it seems like we just want more. And man, that was very, very good. Appreciate it, guys. And I'll send you another date.